Growing up, the one thing I wanted more than anything in the world was a relationship with my brother Mike. I wanted him to think I was cool. But when I was 13 years old, he nearly lost his life. That was the fall of 2001. I spent most of that time in a hospital, downtown Philadelphia. And even though there were hundreds of people there, I still remember the way the hospital machinery echoed through the hallways and made it feel like it was just me, my mom, and my brother. I was about a year removed from going to high school at that point. And I was a bit of a nerd at the time. So I was counting on Mike. I needed him to make me cool for high school, right? But the doctor told us that he was paralyzed from the waist down and he would never walk again. How could this happen? My mom told me it was a car accident. Made sense at the time. Turns out it was a white lie. A story, a part of a number of stories that she told me growing up that I suppose helped me cope with some of the harsh realities that I had to live with growing up. See, I grew up in Philadelphia in the 1990s. Ultra-violent city, fueled by a crack cocaine epidemic at the time. Me and most of my friends, we either knew someone who was using or selling. Most of the times, both. A lot of times, family members. A lot of their parents made them go to church for a refuge. My church was a movie theater. I loved the movies growing up. I lived about 10 minutes away from a movie theater. One of the only places my parents would let me go by myself. Me and my friends would get these huge coats, even in the summertime, stuff them with donuts, Pop-Tarts, anything we could find in the house, because we couldn't afford the concessions at the concession stand. Then we buy a ticket to a Disney movie and go see an R-rated movie. Then we got in, somebody would go to the back and creak open that back door, about 3 more people would come in, because they couldn't afford tickets. Then after the movie, somebody would peek out, see where the security guard was, and we go see another movie. We'd be there all day. And yeah, it seems mischievous, but compared to what was going on outside of the movie theater, it's pretty wholesome, trust me. Movies was also a family thing growing up. My mom is the one who introduced me to the movies. She loved movies growing up. She introduced me to Star Wars. I thank her for that all the time. Thank you. She deserves a round of applause for that. Also remember my dad taking me to the movies a lot. But according to him, a movie ticket was a recliner, free air conditioning, and a chance to take a 2-hour nap uninterrupted. Even though he was the one interrupting everybody else because his snoring was so loud, nobody could watch the movie. I remember everything about the movies at that time. The only thing I don't remember is Mike being there, my older brother. Where was Mike? Never saw Mike growing up. We shared a room until I was 8 years old. We lived about a foot away from each other after that, but I never saw him. Where was this 15, 16-year-old kid? Was he James Bond or something? He was never in the house. I thought about this a lot as I roamed the halls of the hospital when I was 13. Truth was, my older brother got caught up in that crime wave. And one night, somebody tried to murder him and his best friend. A bullet hit his spinal cord, and like the doctor said, I never saw him walk again. So where would our relationship go now? I thought maybe the trauma would bring us closer together. That's what happens sometimes. But we were night and day, and our differences drove us farther apart the older we got. Fast forward, we're both adult men now. living in the same house. My mom's gotten the hell out of there. Left it to us. My brother slowed down a bit at this point. He's in the house a lot. And I just graduated film school because at this point, I went from movie lover to somebody who wanted to make movies. One day, sitting in my room, and I'm editing what's supposed to be my first documentary. Summer 2016 was the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia. 50,000 protesters, 4 days. I spent each day down there documenting the event. I wanted to make a movie out of it. So I'm sitting in my room editing. At this point, I'm my brother's caregiver, and I hear him yell, "Hey, Bob, what's going on?" Now, when you're editing, sometimes you have to listen to the same clips over and over and over again. So my brother thought I was being radicalized. He thought I was listening to propaganda because it's a bunch of political speeches. So I said, "Nah, man, I'm working on a movie." Movie? What kind of movie? So you want to check it out? Then magic happened. You see, what I didn't realize is me and my brother had one hobby in common. It was movies. I just didn't know that. Never spending time together. Over the course of the next couple weeks, he gave me suggestions here and there, put this there, "Oh no, that song doesn't work," from a viewer's point of view. But so many edits, I made him a producer on the film. And that next summer, it became an official selection at the Ocean City Film Festival. Wasn't that good. I think my mom was just happy that we were doing something together. So she put up the money for us to actually attend the film festival. We got a cheap hotel at a Days Inn in Salisbury, Maryland. We watched movies for 4 days, really good independent films. We ate crabs, went to the beach a couple times, laid up in the hotel and watched the NBA finals. But what I remember most about that is just finally we had conversations with each other, found out things about each other we didn't know. We talked. Confined, the first time in the same room since I was 8 years old. Like that I can remember. On the last day of the film festival, it was the award ceremony. He wanted to go home. You see, when you have a disability in a cheap hotel, it's not fun. I'm the kid that watches the Oscars every year, every award, so I wanted to stay, see who won. "You know we're not gonna win, right?" That's what he told me. "Yeah, I know. Let's just still go check it out." So they're announcing the awards. We're sitting there, and he reaches over to me, and he whispers in my ear, "Hey, this is pretty cool, man. I get used to this." That was my award right there. Finally, I had a relationship with my brother, some sort of relationship. And I also love proving him wrong because we did win the film festival. We drove home with these goofy smiles on our face. And it was a good moment. It gave me confidence to keep going. Being lost after film school. I know my brother was looking for his second act and didn't know if it would be movies or not, but he's pretty pessimistic, and I could sense a change in him at that point. We're both born in Rochester, and today we both live here. I'm a multimedia journalist at the Democratic Chronicle. He is a certified peer mediator and an advocate for gun violence victims. And when we're not doing that, we're working on our next big movie. Thank you.